Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Sleep video. It's Bro Vinny here. Today we are talking about everything sleep session related. We are now several months into the game and I still get asked these questions quite a lot, so that's why I decided to make this video. Questions like, should I be sleeping 2 sessions a day? Or can I manually add data for the day before? Or can you add data to a session prior to your latest session? What about good sleep day? Now, I'm going to try and answer all these questions as much as I can in this video, but before that, we gotta clear up some basic knowledge about this game. So I'm gonna say a few things just for basic knowledge, just so everyone's on the same page. First of all, you are only allowed 2 sessions a day for sleep sessions, whether it be manually tracked or whether it be sleep tracked, actually tracked session. When I say manually tracked, I mean this button here where you just add the data to basically tell the game that you forgot to track a sleep session, but you'll add it in now. You're allowed to do this once a day, but you will lose some benefits. You won't get any sleep styles, you won't get taken to the catch screen of the Pokemon, you just lose a bunch of things. You won't even get EXP for your Pokemon, despite the animation showing that there's an EXP up. And never ever do this a second time in the same day. You will just not be allowed to track sleep after that, and you'll have no reward for the second session anyway. I don't even know why they allow you to click that twice in a day when it actually just gives you absolutely nothing except to block your ability to track sleep that day. Honestly, they should just not let you press this twice a day, so that at least you still have the ability to track sleep. For those of you who didn't know that you can't track after adding 2 sessions, it does warn you, but it just doesn't make sense to have it there. Now, in your 2 sessions a day, you are allowed a total of 8.5 hours worth of sleep where you get rewards. Anything beyond that, there's no reward. Now, I personally typically do 1 session a day. As you can see, there's only 1 a day, and I try to reach 8.5 hours as much as I can. That's the 100% sleep score for an adult. For a child, it's a bit higher. I think it's 11 or 11.5 hours. For those of you who track 2 sleep sessions, you'll want to make up 8.5 hours in total to maximize your rewards. Another very important thing to know is that each day of this game is counted at 4 AM, and the session will count to the day that corresponds to your start time. Just to clarify that point, so today is Wednesday, my last sleep track session is Tuesday, but you can actually see that I started sleeping over here at 12:34 AM of the Wednesday. So the real life Wednesday actually gets counted towards the Tuesday because it's before 4 AM of the Wednesday. And the day that this sleep session counted towards is Tuesday because it counts from when you start sleep tracking, not when you end sleep tracking. So I woke up at 8:45. It counts towards yesterday, not today. So Tuesday, not Wednesday, this session. So that means today, for Wednesday, I still get 2 sessions. And there is no third session at all. If by accident you only manage to track 3 hours of sleep over 2 sessions of that day, that's too bad. You won't be able to get a third session or the remaining 5.5 hours of sleep score. So we got all the basic knowledge out of the way. Here are the questions that get asked commonly. Since the good sleep day is just around the corner now, the most common question I get asked is, when should I be sleeping during the good sleep day for the rewards? And we've talked about this previously, but just to clarify, it only counts when you start tracking within the event time period. So if you started tracking the night before and during your sleep the event started, that's still the day before. So don't go using your incense. In fact, you need to see a little banner that says good sleep day, and you will know for sure that the good sleep day event is running if you see this banner. Now, a related question is, do both sessions in that day get the good sleep day rewards? So yes, it does. So both sessions will get the drowsy power bonus. You will get all the rewards with the exception of the number of sleep points that you get. So over the whole event period, over the 3 days, you get a total of 2,000 sleep points. That doesn't go higher because you sleep 2 sessions a day. That's the only difference between 2 sessions and 1 session. And even if you do add manual data, yes, you will still get those sleep points when the first session is done, and you will still recover energy and all that. You will not gain any benefits from the drowsy power bonus of the good sleep day. So adding manual data is, well, I would highly refrain from that, because you want to maximize your drowsy power benefits during good sleep day. You want to be putting all 100% sleep score into this into good sleep day. If you added manual data, then you don't get to do any sleep research for that session. And what that does is, it means that when you do track your sleep, you'll only be able to get like a reduced amount of sleep score for your drowsy power. And the second question, and this is a real juicy one, and we just briefly talked about this. The second question I get asked a lot is, are 2 sessions better than 1 or vice versa? So some people track 2 sleep sessions a day. Some people do 1. And I'm going to tell you that it depends on what you're after. And there's going to be arguments for both sides. The main argument for sleeping 1 session, but where you can maximize your sleep score and drowsy power, because your sleep score can go up to 100%. You can't do that with 2 sessions. The main argument for that is that you will get rarer sleep styles showing up. If you split your sessions up and you have a reduced drowsy power, the Pokemon that show up, the sleep styles, I should say, that show up will not be as good. And I've got a tick here who's provided some screenshot of an example where one day a tick didn't, so they did 2 sessions, and on that day, not a single 3 or 4 star sleep style. But what we can see here is that in 2 sessions, a tick got like 12, 13 Pokemon showing up in total. If you get 13 Pokemon showing up in a day, your candy count is going to be a lot higher than someone who only does 1 session a day, which is the main argument for doing 2 sessions as opposed to 1. While your sleep score does, so your drowsy power does affect how many show up, the requirement for each extra slot of Pokemon to show up, for each like 1 more of these to show up to, let's say, another slot down here, increases almost exponentially. It's a lot harder to get each increment, to get 1 extra Pokemon, compared to splitting it over 2 sessions. It's a lot easier to get more Pokemon to show up in total. And some research data by Paul Silver has shown us this. So this here is the drowsy power, approximate drowsy power is somewhere within that range, where the number of Pokemon showing up will reach the next tier. So so every area is different as well. For Green Grass Isle, you're gonna get 4 Pokemon showing up at about 1 million drowsy power. About 7 Pokemon showing up if you get to about 8 million drowsy power. But to get 8 Pokemon showing up, it's 20 million. It's a huge jump to get 1 extra Pokemon to show up. So if you had 16 million to work with, you would split it over 2 sessions if you want the total number of Pokemon showing up to be maximized. So let's say you get 2 sessions of 7 Pokemon as opposed to 1 session of 8 Pokemon. Or maybe not even reaching 8, because the requirement increases exponentially. You should also pay attention that with each area, the drowsy power requirement for an extra Pokemon also increases. So with Taupe Hollow, we can go up to 40 something million for 8 Pokemon to show up, as opposed to Greengrass Isle, which is only 20 million. So not only does Greengrass Isle have the most variety of Pokemon, to get the most number of Pokemon to show up is actually easier as well. So you can understand that if you sleep 2 sessions, you're generally going to get the sleep styles of lower tier sleep styles, so lower rarity, lower star level sleep styles, and towards there will be a point where you've collected all of the low rarity, not very rare sleep styles, and just unable to get high rarity sleep styles because you keep splitting into 2 sessions. So if you're going to do 2 sessions, at some point you also need to do some single session days to really collect all that drowsy power into 1 session for rarer styles to show up to complete your decks on sleep styles. But there's one more problem. So it's all well and good to say, you know what, for now I just want to focus on candies, so I'm going to do 2 sessions every day. Now, how are you going to do those 2 sessions? Are you able to actually split the sessions into 50-50? Or is your first session always going to be shorter because your second session, typically the second session is the one that you go to sleep, your nighttime session, unless you're a night shift person, which then it's reverse. But if your nighttime session is the one that you sleep more on and you want to put more drowsy power in the second session, there is a problem. Your bonus biscuit goes to your first session, which is your less powered session, your lower drowsy power session, typically speaking. So you might have to invert your day totally and go, you know what, I will sleep 6 hours or 7 hours, if we're really pushing the limits here, for my first session. Then the second session, so the nighttime session, when you go to sleep, even though you will track for the whole night, you'll only get 1.5 hours worth for a sleep score. But your second session then will be the one without the bonus cookie. You should be aiming to get that bonus cookie on the session that you get the highest score on, because that's the one that you're more likely going to get more Pokemon, more variety, and better, maybe even better Pokemon. And on to the third most common question I get asked, and this was actually asked in one of my comments. Can you add manual data to the day before? So for example, I'm gonna refer to the comment from Sephiris here. She has a question. She said, I love your videos. I have a question. My phone overheated halfway through the night. And I guess what they mean is the sleep didn't track. They didn't get anything. And it's going to suck in the morning because the drops are minimal. The energy are going to be on 0. All the Pokemon are just going to be on 0 energy and not farming very well for the rest of the day unless you use like a short session just to recover the sleep and run a recovery incense. And that's how you would recover from a really bad tracking session. But the question is, can I just add manual data to the day before, but not affect the sleep sessions of today? And the answer is yes. She asked, can I add manual data to Friday's logs, because you're only allowed 2 sessions a day. So can I put the data in Friday and not Saturday? So Saturday is his or her current day, mainly just to restore some energy. Now, my recommendation to restore energy is to do like a 1.5 hour track sleep session and run a recovery incense. Recovery incenses are so common relative to other incenses. You should do it. You should use it in this way. But yes, you can. You can just use manual data for the day before, which it doesn't harm your Saturday, your next day, your today's sessions. You still get 2 sessions if you add to the previous day, and you can do that. You just have to make sure the time you put in. So let's say it's 2:56 a.m. for Sephiris. The time that you put in is before 4 a.m. of your day. In this way, yes, even though you didn't get all the sleep research and catch a Pokemon in the morning, sleep styles, all of that, you still get your energy back. But I'm going to assume here that Sephiris didn't already use the add manual data on Friday, because if this is the second session for adding manual data on the Friday, there'd be no rewards. And that is why we had to go through all the base knowledge first before I went through all the questions in this video. And the final side question following from that, can you add manual data to a session prior to another recorded session? Hypothetically, if you had slept on the day before at nighttime, could you add a manual session to the daytime of the day before? So earlier. The answer is a straight no. You cannot do that. The game will tell you that. it will say that this sleep session falls before the one you've already tracked, so it won't work. And one more thing, if you are using add manual data, you can only do it within the last 30 hours. So for the people who maybe went on a trip and couldn't get access to their phone, or for some reason couldn't track, you can actually add a session 30 hours prior. What I haven't tested is because 30 hours can include up to 3 days. The tail end of 2 days before, the day before, and then the starting time of today, could you potentially add sleep data 2 days ago? That I haven't tested. But based on what we're reading here, it's potentially possible. So then you'll have one added sleep session to 2 days ago. Then you go, you know what, I'll just add one more. I don't know why you would, but you would add one more to the day before. So now you have an added session 2 days before, the day before, and then you go back to your normal track sessions today. And while we're talking about sleep sessions, I'm just going to include an interesting point here. This is the sleep data from my alt account. I do all sorts of funky things on my alt account. It's the account's called Baby Vinny because it's actually a child account as well. I just wanted to test a few things out. One of the sessions I tested, so this here is tracked over 6 or 7 days. So I just left the phone there. I wasn't doing anything. I was just leaving the phone there tracking 7 days straight. I just wanted to find out maybe if the app would glitch or if there's some like hidden mechanic. There is no hidden mechanic, and it caps out at about 11.5 hours of sleep. So the app won't even track further than that. It will just tell you that you've slept this much. So if you were wondering, don't bother. You can't go past 12 hours anyway for how long you can track a session. And that should cover most of the frequently asked questions on sleep sessions in Pokemon Sleep. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comments section below. And tell us what you think about this question. Do you do 2 sessions or 1 session preferably? Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.